So we were drawing along while we were watching the demo. We just did the drum roll eye shape, and now we should be looking in a mirror that I have provided for you. There should be a mirror in front of everybody's desk, and you can also use your Chromebook if you need to open up your Chromebook camera, and you could use that as well. So we're going to be drawing we're going to do a pair of our eyes. I'm going to show you a trick on how to get a correct measurement when you're drawing the eyeball. So remember in this demo, she talked about we drew the eyeball first, and then the eyeball is inside of your sockets. Okay, so we just kind of we just did a real quick step-by-step how to draw a general eye. Now we're going to practice doing our own eye. So when we're looking at the head, if we have a head, just to kind of give you a quick diagram, there are actually 5 eyeballs. The distance from the side of your head with your ears is actually 5 eyeballs across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And the distance between of each of these eyeballs should be equal. And the distance between your 2 eyes, that's what they call the third eye, if anybody's ever heard of that, it is the same distance. So a lot of people have a hard time getting their eye shape correct. And this is a really quick technique to help check and make sure that you get the spacing and the size right. So we're going to do a pair of our eyes. So I would just, let's make one eyeball here in the middle. Let's do it small because we're going to do my eye. I'm going to write down my eye. Okay, so we have one eyeball. You can use your pencil to measure. So now I know that my left eyeball will be here. I'm going to take my pencil and measure. And I have my right eyeball. So now I have the correct spacing for my eyes. Okay? So always just think about, remember that little trick to make sure you get your eyes even. So the top lines up with the top, and the bottom lines up with the bottom, and I have my spacing generally correct. They're all the same distance, right? So we're gonna look when you're looking in the mirror. We're gonna do the same techniques that we practiced in the video, and we're gonna start step by step, and I'll walk you through it again as we're drawing our own eye. Let me move that out of the way. And so get your mirror position so you can see your eyes. And it doesn't matter which eye you start with. I'm going to start with my right eye. And we're going to be doing the same technique we practiced. So remember we drew the eyeball. Then we're going to draw the pupil. The pupil is about half the size of your eye, right? You can do it on both sides. So I have my eyeballs. Iris and pupil. Okay? So remember we talked about your top eyelid always goes right on the top of that pupil, right? It's always going to go over the eyeball and just touch the very top of that and go to the corner of your eyeball there. So start one line here and just go all the way across, making sure that it touches the top of that. You do the same thing on this side. It should always touch. The only time you would never draw it touching is if you were drawing somebody that was like scared or shocked. But typically, everybody's upper eyelid will touch that top of your pupil and iris. Okay? Your tear duct is going to be on the inside corner. And that goes just on the edge of that eyeball. So you're going to put your tear duct in. And we're going to put our lower lids in. Remember, our lower lid is going to go right underneath the pupil and iris. And all of our eyes are slightly different, so you can adjust that as you're looking. Okay. We're not putting shading in yet, but... And one thing I wanted you to look at, we talked when we were thinking about it, when you look at your eye, the top of your eye, you can see how I'm holding my hands, it's holding the eyeball inside, right? And the top is always, do you see how the top is always in highlight and the bottom is in shadow? So that's the same way, that's why you have the shadow underneath your eye. It's basically the cast shadow, and the highlight's always going to be on top. Your eyeball is sitting inside of your eye socket, so if you also imagine the eye socket holding your eyeball here, that's where it's going to show you the top of that eye socket is where your eyebrow will be. And typically, unless you're drawing your eyebrows in or plucking them, your eyebrows always start right around where the tear ducts is. So you can outline lightly where your eyebrow is, the shape, right here on that brow line. It's going to disappear and kind of taper off on the outside edge. So look at your eyebrows and make sure that you're making them the correct size. Don't draw them in very dark. A lot of people make a mistake and they make these giant I call them caterpillar eyebrows like that, and we want to avoid that first. I'm going to show you how to make natural eyebrows. So it's lightly. Notice how we're still always drawing lightly, and I'm also looking in the mirror at the shape of my eyebrow. Okay? The third eye in here, this is where the bridge of your nose is. So the edge of that eyebrow touches where the bridge of your nose is. Okay? So see this angle right here, this basically connects and goes up into your brow line. That's where your eyebrows connect. And the top of your eyeball is typically where your eyelid falls, but look at your eyes and make that adjustment. My eyelid is closer to, because I think it's probably because I'm older too, I'm in my 40s. So my eyelid's going to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to make adjustments. And the distance from that eyelid to my eyebrow is larger. This is the most common mistake I see people making, because they always forget about their eyelid and they just draw the eyebrow. Okay? So you're going to put your eyelid in and your eyebrow. Same thing here. I'm going to come back in and I'm going to make my eyelid come down. And if you need to erase and make adjustments, you can. Use your eraser because you're looking in the mirror at the same time. I made my eyebrow too close to that. Okay, so the general outline of my eyes I'm looking at in the mirror. And now I'm going to start shading in sort of a basic outline. Okay, the shadow is going to connect on the eyelids here. And we're going to do the same techniques that we practiced in the video. So if you want to start shading in your pupil, the iris. Remember, you do the dark and then put like a starburst pattern, and where there's a highlight, leave that light. But don't forget to put that shadow underneath the bottom of that top lid as well. And the outside edge is always darker. Even if you have blue eyes, it's gonna be darker. It's the darkest part of your eye. Alright, so I'm shading looking in the mirror. My highlight is on the bottom. It's a little bit different. It might look different to you. And we're practicing now before you guys get to your final portrait in charcoal. Charcoal is a lot faster too than pencil. And I'm going to teach you two different techniques so you'll be able to choose. You see what both materials are like. So once we get our the iris and the eye done, you can even start adding shading. Remember the edge of that eyeball? It is white, but there's always a shadow on the edges to make it look more three-dimensional. And you could start adding shading to your upper eyelid, so it's going to be darker on the inside edges typically. Then there's always a highlight, so ease up on that. And then you're going to put a darker shadow in the crease. Where your eyelid touches. And bring that shadow up on your brow line. And you can use your eraser if you need to. I made my eyebrows too close to my eyelid, so I had to start over a little, adjust it a little bit. Just gotta practice. Just look in the mirror and just try. So that's why I'm showing you how to do it. We're practicing. I can't come work with you at the desk because of COVID, so I'm trying to work along with you best I can. All these videos are also on Canvas, so you can go back and look. So I shaded in lightly my eyebrow, and then I'm gonna lay the hairs over it. And that's what makes it look not realistic. If your hairs are curlier, you can wiggle the line. And then right where your pupil is, in the iris, that's where your eyebrow starts to get lighter, right out here. It's always darker in this area. And if your shadows are darker, you're just going to adjust those shadows by hovering your pencil and putting more layers of that value in. I haven't even added my eyelashes yet. Just putting the value in, looking at my eye. Remember, the bottom of my eyelid is going to be typically the darker part because it's cast in shadow, and there's a space from the bottom of that lid. So where the lid touches right here, there is that, you can see the top part of your lower lid, right? So you put that space in, and that's where your eyelashes on the bottom will radiate from. So remember, when you're doing your eyelashes, to the right, it's always going to be pushing down and flicking off. So you do these like realistic eyelashes that are radiating from that line. They're not even. If you look, you'll see like on the edge, you typically will see a darker eyelash and then skip a little bit over. And then once you come here to the middle of the eye, your eyelashes start to kind of crisscross and move in the direction to the left. So I'm going this direction to the right, and then once I get to the middle, I'm going to start to crisscross and make my eyelashes go curve to the left. Okay? That's how you get some realistic eyelashes. and they're not even. So when you're looking in the mirror, look at where you see like the cluster, and that's how you're gonna get that realistic look. Okay? And then same thing for the bottom of the eye. I'm going to put a little bit of more shadow in that eyeball. And I'm going to put, my bags are pretty dark today, but just a little bit of shadow on the bottom of that lid. That's going to show, that's basically my lower lid holding that eyeball in place. And it gets usually a little bit darker towards where the eyelashes are here in the corner. I'm just going to build that up. And I can take my pencil, and remember I'm starting my eyelashes on the bottom a little bit away from the inside of that eye. And they're more sparse and same brush strokes, but tiny, smaller. Okay. My lashes, also, like you said, you're looking in the mirror and you're drawing what your face looks like. My lashes are thinner. I don't have a lot of eyelashes on the bottom. Okay. So I have one eye. And you look in the mirror and adjust. Like I can see the side of my eye is darker here, so I can build up more shadows if I need to. The inside of that eye socket. If you have any like piercings or jewelry, you can, or makeup on, if you have eyeliner, you can add the eyeliner in. So for example, I don't have, sometimes because of COVID, I've not really done my makeup, but I usually would wear like eyeliner on. So if you had that, after you get your eye drawn, you can actually, look, I'll show you, I'll add. This is what it would look like if I added my eye makeup that I usually have. So I got my cat eye eyeliner. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. Same technique. This is, remember, the bridge of your nose. So this is usually in highlight. There's some light shadow going across. And then it starts to get dark as it goes. And this is basically the outline of your eye socket. So it's always in shadow. It's set inside of your skull. Let's do the same thing on this side. Again, shadows where top of my eyelids meet. And so the same technique on the other side of my eyes. And I want to put in the same eyelashes. So remember, we're always starting from the bottom, looking up. Make sure that they're not all even, and as soon as I hit the middle of that eye, they start to curve to the right. And same thing on the bottom. The outside of that eyeball is a little bit darker. The lighting for me today, at least. And with the brow, I do the same thing. I just make it a little bit darker where my brow is, and then I go in and I lay the hairs over it. Remember, it's always darker towards the inside of that eye socket brow line. And then it gets lighter as it cascades out. So I have that highlight. And like I said, you can use your eraser anytime you need to make those adjustments. Okay? So, got your eyes. And I'm going to go ahead and add eyeliner on this one too. So it's even. It's typically how I have my eyes done. I always put cat eyes. If you had like a eye piercing, you could add eye piercing. Whatever you do. But usually the shadow on the inside too, where your eye socket is, that's going to be a little bit darker, so you can even add more of that shadow in the bridge of your nose. Everybody's face is different, so you're just doing it according to what you see in the mirror. And then the last set of eyes I want you to do, remember, is a set of the opposite. So since I am female, I'm going to do male eyes. I put examples on there for you. This is what I found. I Googled set of eyes, male. There's all kinds of options. I can show you real quickly how to do it. You just go to your search engine and type in, or if you're male, you're going to type in female, set of eyes, and then you just hit images, and you're going to find tons of options. I would stay away from manga and like just get a real picture of somebody. You don't even have to be, you can do any celebrity if you want to. You could also type in male eyes. And then do set, but, and here we go, tons. So you just pick one that you like. It doesn't have to be somebody you know. You could pick any expression, too, if you find somebody who's, for example, if you want to do something that's angry. I mean, you can get all kinds of different expressions if you want to have fun with it. Somebody picked like goofy eyes. There's, you can see all kinds of different variations. So maybe I should pick a different one to play with. I'm going to do male eyes happy. So yeah, look at the difference between angry and happy, you can see. So you can choose anything if you want to choose a specific race, age, anything. You could do child, surprised, serious. You're going to get all kinds of variety. If you want to do female eyes, do the same thing. But I just want you to pick a set of eyes to draw so you get a different range to look at from observation. I don't mind either if you do like a pair of eyes like this that are not straight on and from the side. That's fine too. I think I'll do that one actually for this. Get something different for each demo. Switch it up a little bit. These eyes right here are the ones I did for the demo right below. You can see I just got one. I got one done. So I'm going to do the new set of eyes at an angle that I found. So once you find the eyes that you want to use, you're just going to do the same thing. You're just going to use it as reference and draw it. So this is at an angle, so I have, remember the same rule. If you're having difficulty with distance, the distance between your eyeball is the distance of your actual eye. So if you look in the mirror, you can even practice if you don't believe me. Take your pencil and line it up, and you'll be able to see that the distance equals the length of your eyeball. So I did my 3 eyes, remember my third eye here in the middle, and now I'm going to duplicate the eyes that I found. I'm doing these, I typed in serious male eye. And you're just going to draw. We practiced drawing from the tutorial. We practiced drawing from the mirror, and now we're practice drawing from a photo reference. I always recommend whenever you're working on your arts, whether or not it's your photo or a reference photo, it's very helpful to look at something as you're drawing as reference. So I did my pupil, now I did the upper eyelid. You can see his eyebrow actually comes down and touches the top of that eyelid. And at an angle, it's a little bit different. His eyebrow goes further out. So I'm going to bring his eyebrow out. lower eyelid should equally be on the same, even though it's at an angle, they line up the same, so you can even find where the eyeball is there. And they line up with the top lid. Okay, so I'm getting the other eyeball drawn in. That lid wraps around on top, grazes the top of that, and goes down into the corner. It's the edge of the eyeball and that lower lid. And the lower lid wraps around. Rest of the same thing here. I got my eyes sketched out, like the picture, and now I'm going to start shading it in. So, starting with the darkest part, leaving that highlight. And I'm going to, his eyes are light blue, and you don't see a lot of that starburst, just a little bit. Still darker on the outside edge. And I'm just going to keep looking at that picture as reference and shading it in. And we're just going to keep practicing different features each day. And it'll all of the features will equal 100 points total, because we're going to be moving through the entire face. So I'm going to teach you how to do your ears, your nose, your lips, and then after we practice, we will be doing working from a photo reference and using charcoal. So the goal is to finish the eyes today, but if you need more time, you can work on it on your own and finish it, and then turn it all in later. And it's outlined for you on canvas, how much points everything is worth, and the breakdown. Same thing here. So I see I have the basic structure of the eye. I can see that lower part of the lid. And you can use your eraser. Feel free to use the eye that I'm using up there, or look up your own. I recommend looking up your own. Pick out an eye that you like. So this is something that you can always do if you don't have somebody who will. So for you can pick up, pictures from magazines. You can get pictures from online, and this is a great way to practice. His eyelashes actually come out towards me, so I'm making the eyelashes start from that eyelash, the top of that lid. And the shadow on top of his eyelid is a lot darker. Just keep building up those shadow in the lower lid. Gets lighter. We really got to push ourselves to try, put our heads up and try a little bit harder. I know it's hard because it's 7 o'clock in the morning, but, or 8 o'clock. Jordan, you need to go to the nurse? Jordan, are you okay? Alright, we're trying to get some of this done. So same thing with the matching that value. And his eyebrows, remember you always put the value of the eyebrow in first. And then you can put the hair on top. Xavier, you need to see the nurse? So I got the value going, and I can put eyebrows. Shading all that, see the shadow that goes on the side of that nose? So I'm going to put that shadow in. So about the inside of that eye, I feel like and I do the same thing over here. So I have the highlight from the bridge of that nose. On the edge of his nose here. You just pick any eye you want. 8:17, so we have till 8:35 to get this done, and then if you like I said, you can turn it in to me today, or if you need more time, you can work on it, and you can even work ahead and do other features. You're just practicing. Are you looking at yourself in the mirror? Doing both eyes? You just gotta try, I know. So I'm showing you. Remember, step by step, you draw the eyeball and the pupil. You can keep using that practice paper. Just keep Did you do the tutorial first? It's on Canvas. So everything's posted on Canvas, so you can go back on Canvas and watch the video again and go and stop it if you need to and practice. Everything that we're doing is on Canvas. So, like I said, if you need to go back and watch the tutorial and redo it, you can. But this is how I learned too, is just by practicing and looking at pictures, drawing people. You have to push yourself and you have to try. And it takes practice. And it's okay to mess up and make corrections. You can use your eraser like I just did. Everything is always hard at first when you first do it, but that's why once you practice and you do it, you gotta push through and do it, then it's not so hard anymore. So you have to try. And trying is doing, and then once you get it on the paper, you know, if it looks off, you can make those changes and corrections. Remember too, the rules that we've been practicing, go slow, build up your value slowly, and go lightly because it's easier to make those corrections, or easier to make those corrections with your pencil. And I wouldn't pick a picture. It's hard because that eye is cut off, so I can't see that edge very well. So I didn't pick the best picture. Okay? But that's really good. So you get a little bit of variety between female eyes, male eyes, eyebrows are different. Okay, so that was the whole idea. I wanted you guys to practice.